It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast with Kyle.
So where are we at as Second Chance Jeeps thrives into its second full year?
Go ahead and pull up the Instagram.
Oh boy, now I'm less excited than I was before. Gotta make sure I don't follow that. I don't want that on my feed.
And Steve.
I was hoping that I'd be able to swap those wheels on. And they bolt up. They fit perfectly fine, but the offset way off. I'd have to go with like a MacLeod or a Hahnemann fiberglass.
That an inboard or an outboard?
That's a boat term, you dumb dick.
Well, excuse me.
Now, here they are, two guys who are living in style, Steve and Kyle.
Melissa Vaughn does it once again. Hi.
Wow.
Welcome back.
Boy, I get questions, Steve.
Wow, a minute 30 in already, huh?
Oh, I've been waiting.
Okay.
You know, usually what happens is
hold on. Let's just stop that, and we're gonna get right to it.
And honestly, none of these just general vague questions.
Okay.
You returned yesterday.
Yes.
You and the feces slinging monkeys. That's right.
Yep.
We're back.
Oh, sorry, I'm still talking monkey from the side gig.
Well, yeah, and so when you have to speak for everybody, you know, if you need to change a flight or you need to request a seat change, one of them, you know, kind of pushes you because you have to go talk to the gate agent or whoever's at the desk.
Yeah.
Because those poor folks don't need monkey poop being flung at them.
Whew, no.
So you've got to kind of flip the switch.
I got to be the intermediary to translate from monkey to human.
That's right. You were able to be back on the road this past weekend.
Yeah, that was strange.
Suckered a few hundred people into paying money.
Yep.
To watch
They showed up.
Program that is, again, aired free and live on terrestrial radio. Again, free.
There was no charge for the morning show.
There wasn't.
There was not.
Ooh,
no.
Time's tough.
It was a first come, first serve. That's the FCFS.
Well, you know, a lot of, demands down everywhere, Steve. Don't take it personally.
It definitely is. Definitely is.
How was it? Did you miss it? Did you get there and realize you didn't miss the stress? But it's different for you because you've talked about this a little bit too. It's easier for you there. You're not doing as much production-ish or when you're there, right?
No, it's still kind of, I don't know. There's the one thing that the pandemic brought us is making working remotely easier. Mm-hmm. So I was basically able to do everything I would normally do in the studio, but just remotely. Okay. Thanks to the many different kinds of technology.
Thanks to the year 2022 or 2021.
Exactly, yeah. So it was a little stressful. Just being, those shows always stress me out.
But do you remember when you were in the height of touring, which is probably, what would you say, 2017, 2018, maybe 2019?
2018, 2019.
Where you were doing, would you estimate 20 cities?
No, we probably, I think the most we did was like 10.
Okay.
But
10,
like 10 live morning shows, and then maybe half of them there would be a live night show.
That was probably second nature at that point, right? You knew, hey, we're flying in such and such. You already, you know how you run the show. Again, 6 a.m. fart hour, 7 a.m. dick hour, 8 a.m. fart dick recap hour, and then 9 a.m. take calls.
Right. Sometimes a wild card.
You never know. Listen, if some hot goss drops in the 8 a.m. hour that you have to get to in the 9 a.m. hour, you can then clear the calls out.
Well, yeah, plus if somebody calls in and says, I want more fart hour.
That's right.
Then we immediately transition.
A show of the people. If someone demands more fart hour, right. The monkey flinging feces show is there.
Immediately transition.
You know how to handle it. Mm-hmm. You were in a routine then, but I can imagine back in front of 100 people expecting you guys to be funny in person while they're drinking and eating and making noise, which is already weird, right? You're so used to you're in a studio with the same people you're in with every day, with soundproof walls for the most part.
You're used to it, you're used to a certain atmosphere.
Yeah, so you have to then grow back accustomed to the murmur.
The murmur was that was definitely something that I had kind of forgotten about.
Do you get mad? Hey, shut up, jerks! We're doing a show.
Well, it's not. It's distracting, but it's distracting because we're used to wearing headphones, so any little sound in the background we always hear.
Comes through louder.
It comes through louder. Now the average person is not listening with headphones on, so they may not hear that as much. But when we start getting texts and emails saying, "Hey, tell the idiots in the crowd to shut the F up."
Yep. I got those emails all the time when I would run the board, and that was in the early days of you guys actually going on the road and convincing idiots to pay you. And I remember getting those and having to mention like, "Hey, they're getting a lot of complaints about crowd noise."
Yeah.
And for me personally, I was always mortified about the idea of people drinking that early in the morning, which I don't care. I'm not judging you for that. I mean, but swearing, especially when you guys, would farm out the work and do games and stuff with audience members because you don't want to do it yourself anymore.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's so much easier to make someone else do my work.
So then you'd be asking questions, trivia back and forth, whatever it would be. And I would be horrified. Like, this guy's been drinking since 5 a.m.
Yep.
He thinks he's going to be funny, going to drop an F-bomb or a GD.
That happened on Friday. A woman that I was playing in a game with, I was trying to describe something to her. She could not find the words, and she said, "Oh, F." And it was nerve-wracking because, one, we're on the road. Nobody's in the studio. Like, we're not in the studio to make sure that the dump button is pressed. But luckily, we have somebody back there, Rachel, who board opped her first ever live show.
2 females now?
Yeah. So
like
she
product of an HR investigation.
She hit but the person dropped the F-bomb. We all yelled, "Dump, dump, 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 dump."
Yeah. Which, again, I mean, that's from experience. I can say that's the only thing you're listening to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know a word you guys said during those shows I board out. I'm simply tuning in to hear a curse word or something, non-acceptable, and I'm looking at the clock. Those are the 2 things I'm doing. Whatever you guys are doing.
Making sure that the buttons are pushed at the right times. Yeah.
Multiple times I would hear the name Kyle, and I would either assume, did I miss something?
Right.
And then I wouldn't know what you're asking me about.
Yeah.
I'd have to come up with some stupid answer, and then it'd be on a delay for like 3 seconds, and I'd hear it through that speaker. Just a horrible, horrible way to do things.
Yeah, the technology is a bit better these days.
Yeah.
So luckily, I can actually, from the venue, I can pull up a screen and have a dump button there.
Oh, so I mean, so it's extra producer. Then
it
really,
is. Yeah, yeah. I'm doing a bit of extra work.
Really excessive.
I
don't even need it.
I put in, since I'm doing so much extra work, I said, "Hey, got to get my beak wet a bit here. How about you throw a couple extra pennies my way?"
That's right. Add at least 1 0 to that 10.
Yeah. So it was definitely.
How was it? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it a lot. It's funny because I instantly felt the stress that I used to feel during those shows.
You got to be funny.
It's not even that. I stress more about the tech stuff, making sure everything's working, because ultimately that everyone kind of turns to me if there's something that is a tech issue, which I'm like, that's my job.
That's your thing. Yeah.
That's my job. But it's just, there's a little bit more of a helpless feeling when you're not in the studio, because it's like, if something goes wrong, there's only so much I can do.
You're yelling at someone to go get an engineer.
Yeah.
Who can, handle that.
Yep.
Super techie side.
Luckily,
outside of just the board, nothing happened.
Luckily, we have an amazing engineer at our station, at our home base. The venue where we were, or the radio station that we were doing a show with on Friday, they have an amazing engineer too.
Perfect.
So it's like you connect those two. They start talking in foreign languages that every now and then I hear words like, Ethernet, Gigabot, Gorga Light. Yeah. I'm like, cool, they're doing their thing.
What's that box? Is that a new magic computer? What is that thing doing?
Yeah. So it was fun. It was a trip, like being in front of people, though.
Sure.
Very weird. But yeah, the crowd was really good. But at one point, we were nearing the end of a segment, and I had to take my headphones off for something. I was like, had to go and grab something. And I took my headphones off, and it felt like I was at like a sporting event. It was so loud in the venue. But our engineer he had a couple of, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, he had built this amazing road kit that we take on the road with us. It's got all of our equipment, microphones, and this and that and the other, and headphones.
You kind of ship it ahead of time, or do you carry it with you?
Yeah, we ship it ahead of time. So it's got crowd microphones.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 different crowd microphones that get set up like in the front of the stage, aiming out. So it gets like the natural.
You want
ambiance.
Crowd noise. You want it. I mean, while you don't want it, it's a tough line to balance because you want the crowd. It's kind of like watching a sporting event, right?
Right.
Sometimes you can tell if there's one of those crowd microphones pointed at a woo girl,
right,
too close, and then
Yep.
you'd hope that the engineers do something
Figure
about
it out.
that. So you have to find that balance where you want the crowd noise because when they laugh, if that ever happens to happen during your show,
very rare.
You want it to be heard,
right?
And if it, but you want it acknowledged, right?
Yeah.
But you don't want it too loud that you can hear,
Yeah.
Bill and Susie having their marital issues in the back row because he took a vacation day, not for their first, son's first day of kindergarten, but for a radio show.
But for idiots talking.
Yeah.
So at one point, like I said, I took my headphones off, and it was like deafening when I took my headphones off. And I realized that our engineer back at our home studio, he has remote access to all of the settings and everything. So if my mic is a little too loud or a little too soft, from 700 miles away, he pulls up his screen and he just dials it up or dials it back. Well, he had pulled the crowd microphone setting way, way, way down.
And you didn't notice with your headphones on.
So we didn't notice. Yeah, we're sitting there with our headphones on thinking like, hey.
They're sitting observant.
They're being pretty great. Yeah. And I take my headphones off and it's like I'm at a football game.
Oh, did you guys say anything? Because that's tough. You don't want to be the people be like, hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Sit in your chairs and shut your mouths. But you also can't allow, a deafening murmur because people are simply having side conversations at this live radio event.
Sure. It works out because what we can usually do is, because it feels weird to be like, hey, shut up and listen to us.
Right.
But we can usually use like, hey, a bunch of listeners are texting saying.
Oh, right. That's an easy fallback because one, even if it's not a lot, I guarantee you it's happening. And part of it is aggravation with the listeners, but part of it's also a little bit of jealousy, right? Like, well, I'm not there and I have to hear them having fun, yada, yada, which is really stupid to think about, but that's a little bit of what it is.
And you know what it comes down to? We noticed a long time ago, and it sounds weird, but the how the people are sitting at the venue.
Okay.
If they are sitting in rows, it's a lot quieter. Like if they set up chairs,
yes,
just like like you're going to a comedy show or whatever, so it's just rows of people looking at you.
Yes.
There's not as much talk. But if they're at tables, because you end up
face to face,
half of the people have their backs to you, or they're kind of like you're off to the side, and it just makes it a lot easier for them to talk. So we always try to encourage, like, hey, please have rows, not tables.
It's such a weird thing, though, that you've, in this case, they didn't pay, but in a lot of cases, paid for tickets or made the time to wake up super early to go do this and decide to simply have a side conversation at this event. You wouldn't do. I mean, it's the equivalent of deciding to have a conversation during church.
I think that now, especially, people are just happy to be out doing something.
Yeah.
Since it's been a while, people are like starved for human interaction in a lot of cases. So it's just, natural. Hey, I haven't seen anybody in 2 years, so I want to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was, we had 4 flights. So connection on the way there, connection on the way back. Every single one of them was on time. We landed, I was back home by 9:15 on Saturday morning.
Okay, so that was a super early Saturday flight then.
And that's why I had texted you earlier in the week saying, hey, can we do Sunday? I don't get back until Saturday,
midday, right?
Saturday afternoon. I thought I got back at 2:00. And then on Friday, I said to one of the other monkeys, I was like, hey, man, it's great. We get to sleep in a little bit tomorrow. And they were like, no, we leave at 6 a.m.
Did you all have the same flight back? Because I know a lot of times you used to do different ones.
Yeah, we were all on the same flight. And I was like, wait, we leave at 6 a.m. and we don't get back until 2? And they're like, no, we're back by like 9:15. I was thinking of our next trip in a couple of weeks where we don't get back until about 2:30. So
got it.
Yeah, we got back at 9:15. Annette and Evelyn picked me up at the airport. I was in the car by 9:30 and we were sitting at a restaurant eating breakfast by like 9:50.
Wow.
So because I said to her, I was like, hey, I'm back a lot earlier than I thought. You want to just pick me up? We'll go out to breakfast.
Yeah. I'd rather have the early wake up but early home.
Me too. Yeah.
Rather than sleep in and enjoy your day. Like, because my mind, that last day of vacation, I know we've talked about that. That last day of vacation for me, I'm ready to go.
I want to be home.
Yep.
The night before, I had everything packed in my bag. I had my clothes laid out, and I had my alarm set for 15 minutes before the person was picking us up to take us to the airport. Man. So they were meeting us at 4:30. I set my alarm for 4:15, and I was still in the lobby like 5 minutes early.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it. This is your first trip in 2 years? Has it been almost 2 years or fully 2 years?
January of 2020 was our last trip.
And
I've only flown, I think, 2 other times.
Yeah, Florida?
No, we've gone to Jersey twice.
Oh, I thought you'd visited you canceled the visit with your dad because of the rise in Omicron, or Delta variant, right?
We only have I got to figure out what to do with that credit because it's only good for a year.
They only gave you credit for that?
They gave me credit, which I was perfectly happy with.
I mean, you chose to cancel. It wasn't okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, go back down there, right? Not exactly. And I say that dismissively, like it's easy. Nothing is easy with a, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 year old flying.
Well,
but
what might happen is, and I've actually wanted to bring this up, there's a chance because Annette is now almost into
third trimester.
Right? Yeah. So it's not recommended that she flies, obviously.
Okay, is that a full third trimester thing?
I believe so.
Okay.
So she had the idea that I think I just need to book the flights by the 1 year mark. I don't think the travel has to take place by the 1 year mark.
Yeah, and a lot of the airlines will be booking out 300. I think 300 days is the number. So you could book at day 360 for 300 days out, and you will have, when your newborn is 10 months old at that point.
I think what's going to happen is me and Evelyn are going to do a Dada Evelyn trip.
Hey!
And Annette's going to stay here.
Boy, that would be an experience.
That was Annette's suggestion. She was like, well, why don't you just, maybe for the end of the summer, because I'll have a week off at the end of the summer. She's like, baby will be a couple months old. Why don't you and Evelyn go and, visit my family in New Jersey or visit my dad in Florida or something, and she'll stay here. So there's a chance that me and Evelyn will just go for a long weekend, which will be crazy because that'll be a first. I don't think Annette has ever. There's never been a time where she's been away from Evelyn, but I haven't. I've been away for work a couple of times,
overnights and stuff,
and we've both been away for going away for a weekend or something, and Evelyn stays at her parents or at my mom's house. But yeah, we've never done the separate this way. So that'll be interesting.
And I think
so. A little daddy-daughter vacation, which I'm pumped
When
about.
does she turn 3 again?
She'll turn 3 in September.
I'm pretty sure she's free until 3.
Nah, it's usually 2.
That's what I mean. But if she's 2, if you were to go while she's 2.
Oh, I thought it was. Yeah, the ones I've seen are under. It's like 2
0
and
to
under.
0 to 2, right?
Yeah.
But 0 to 2, you're still within the 2. You're not to the 3
that's true.
yet. So you could save yourself a little coin.
Yeah.
Not book her a seat. Really anger the person next to you as, you have to then carry her on your lap or whatever.
I do not want to do that. And if we have the credit, I'm just going to use it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe upgrade.
Even if I got to spend another $100 or whatever because of the difference in price. But so that's a possibility for the end of the summer that I'm looking forward to. It'll be a fun daddy-daughter vacation.
What is right now the next event for you guys as you go back to touring?
Yeah.
Money was tight. You guys had to get back out on the road.
Yeah.
To go to.
Got the tip bucket out front.
Yep.
Sitting on the table so people can throw, 20s, 50s, 100s.
So you guys had to rush to get back out on the road to do these free morning shows.
Yeah.
To make all that bread. And we failed you, listeners. We failed you horribly.
We sure did.
We talked about this thing in January or December. We
nearly succeeded
in doing something
so well.
And this would have been a perfect venue based on the picture I saw of it.
It would have been great. It's a a beautiful old venue in the capital region of New York. It's called Troy Savings Bank Music Hall. It was an awesome venue, and it would have fit in perfectly.
You are now back out there, and we let everybody down by finding out, literally while recording, where the Fathead was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we spoke
with our friend Jonathan Baker in Southwest Michigan.
Yeah, it's actually, maybe within 10, 15 miles of... Oh, no, that's right. He's down in...
He comes up here. He was just up here 2 months ago.
He messaged saying, hey... I'm here. I got it.
We ignored him.
Where you at?
Yeah. We ignored it. Didn't see it, didn't address it. That was 2 months ago. So
sorry about that, Johnny.
And again, he's a doctor. If I remember it, he was going to give us some testing, right?
Oh, yeah, to see if we have early onset Alzheimer's.
Oh, God, I'm terrified.
Okay, so that's right. We were going to pick him up, blindfold him.
That's right, because obviously he can't know. But we got a chair for him.
It's just off in the corner.
And then if I remember right, we were going to have his test duel with our other friend. I forget her title, Sarah.
Sarah, yeah.
And I'm not going to try to say her title because I don't remember it. Mm-hmm. But they were similar fields.
BHS.
Okay.
Behavioral Health Specialist?
Behavioral Human Sciences.
Behavioralist.
Behavioralist. Of human sciences.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the title, Sarah. A lot of schooling for that, I assume.
We'll send you the certificate to put up on your wall.
Yeah, when we get our own business cards, we'll send you a handful of Behavioralist of Human Sciences cards. You can then hand out to your patients you don't want to see again.
Yep.
But yeah, we need to figure out where you're at next. Now, you have, I believe, a paid gig coming up next week.
Yeah, we have the hometown live at night show here.
Snooze. Can't bring the Fathead there.
Cannot bring it in.
That happened. Poor Timmy. Lost one of the Fatheads years ago trying to do that. He had to give it to security and it was discarded. Mm-hmm. So we are skipping the local show because the local authorities are not woke enough to allow us to spread the good word about my face being in the audience. Mm-hmm. What if they bought a seat? Could you get a ticket
for the Fathead?
For the Fathead.
I believe so. I know that because I was looking at the seating chart. I was looking at the seating chart the other day. To see how many tickets were remaining. So you have the orchestra pit. There are no seats available there. The next is the mezzanine. Mm-hmm. There's one ticket available in the mezzanine. There's 600 seats probably in the mezzanine, and there's one lone ticket available kind of towards the back, off to the side. I would pay money for that Fathead to sit in that seat.
Kyle's Fathead really needs to be in the orchestra.
So maybe we can, look.
We talked about this a while ago.
Hold on. I'm on the show.
Do you know a guy?
I could bump someone.
Yeah. Could you send an email, your own hand, not like automated?
Yeah.
Sorry, your ticket has been revoked. And then when they see the footage, there's my cardboard Fathead in the seat that they had paid for.
I think that what happens is we show up, we explain the situation to one of the security guards.
Yeah.
We hand them the Fathead. They then walk down to the seat, grab the person around the scruff of their neck, rip them out of the seat, throw them up into the nosebleed, and they prop Kyle Fathead right in there.
I want it to happen to where... Because whoever's going to bring the Fathead is obviously not going to be probably seated next to it. So they need to walk in with the Fathead with two tickets in totally different sections.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing whoever's bringing my Fathead is probably one of those poor idiots who have to sit up in the top.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at the bunch of ants, make cracking wise down on the stage. Mm-hmm. And...
cracking wise.
And they will obviously face security. And security will say, you can't bring that in. We're not allowing signs or posters. And they're going to have to clarify, no, this is Kyle's Fathead.
Kyle's got a seat.
He has a seat tonight. Here's the ticket.
Yeah. And
to their confusion, they'll have to allow it in.
Do you think that I should... so if we can't get the Kyle Fathead in for whatever reason, do you think I should drop Steve and Kyle podcast Easter eggs throughout the...
If you can.
Throughout the show? I mean, I was thinking maybe because, at the beginning an intro plays and then we walk out and there's like music playing in the background. Yeah. Maybe I replace the music with Malt Shop Bop.
I was going to say, do you think at any point, because you guys do video segments, you do audience participation, whatever, and also if you're going to that show, we always encourage it. One, never be rude.
No.
Do not scream during the show. Do not yell out unless they're asking for audience participation.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to even while we joke about the show, the feces slinging monkeys, whatever, that's rude. There's a lot of other people who paid money. Don't scream out and yell, even if you think it's funny for the podcast, whatever. But if there is if you're on stage for trivia or whatever you guys do nowadays.
Like if we bring you up and say like, so what's your name? Bobby. Bobby, what do you do? I'm a welder.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what are some of your interests outside of work? You could say hunting, fishing, and listening to the Steve and Kyle podcast.
The go-to that we always encourage, and this is on the phone lines as well, and I apologize for getting the name of the last person who let us down. They had tweeted us or messaged us. This was a while ago that they were on air and they forgot to mention. I think the favorite go-to that I like to hear is love the podcast.
Or no, love the show, love the Steve and Kyle podcast.
Yes. I prefer it if you flip that around.
Yeah.
If you said, hey, love the Steve and Kyle podcast, listen to the radio show.
Hey, I heard about you guys from the Steve and Kyle podcast.
Yes. Something like that.
That is a very nice.
Yeah. And obviously, if you have any merch, please wear that to the side gig show.
Yes.
You can always find that SteveandKyle.com/merch if you don't have any. But yes, please spread the word of the Steve and Kyle podcast at these night shows. But yes, if you get called up for audience participation, please drop in some Easter eggs about the podcast. Yeah. I don't know if our friend Zach Ruddock's going to be there. I know he's not on social media anymore. He usually goes to these Yahoo events. Timmy might be on another world tour. Timmy might be joining.
I'm pretty positive Timmy will be there.
Okay. I think we lost both halves of the brothers Humphrey.
Are they both gone?
I think we lost them both. So I don't know if that matters anymore. But if you're in the Grand Rapids show, that is this Friday night?
Saturday night.
Saturday.
It is Saturday night.
The big bucks for the venue.
Saturday night, April 9th.
That's right.
2022, the year of our Lord. By the way, it is Sunday, April 3rd, 2022, the year of our Lord, the Steve and Kyle podcast.
After that, though, where are you guys at that the Fathead could logistically make an appearance without security commandeering?
Okay, in just under 3 weeks, on Friday, April 22nd, we are in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
I know we have a listening audience in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
And we're there. You have two chances. We're there for a morning and a night show.
Beautiful.
On the 22nd.
Now, preference is if you're going to both. I don't know. I know that's a smaller portion of the audience. Some people can only make... It makes sense. If again, we talked about it earlier. If you take work off to go listen to people talk on the radio, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
just an absolute idiot, absolute buffoon.
Question every other decision in your
ogre
life.
who nobody could love.
2 weeks after that, on May the 6th, Friday, May the 6th, morning show and night show in Portland, Maine.
Boy, I know we've got a few over there as well. Where I'm looking at probably Nikki Constantine, I know is over there.
Yep.
I know we've got a few other listeners who live in that area or who will be going to that show.
The week after that, the first time ever, we will be in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Boy, and I know we are going to have almost like the Walking Dead, hands clawing to get their hands on the Fathead for that. I know we have.
Really?
At least a few who live in the UP.
The thing about that, too, is it's only a couple of hours from Green Bay.
Right.
And the venue that we're going to be at says that they have a lot of people that come up. It's a casino. They said that they have a ton of people that come up from Green Bay all the time. So we're anticipating that some of the people that are going to be there will be from Green Bay. It's actually in, I think, Harris, Michigan.
Okay.
The Island Casino and oh boy, I might be way off on that.
I'm looking at our friend Mark Calhoun is up there.
Yep.
I know we've got a list. I'm sorry, I forget your name, but I know you go to Michigan Tech. I don't know if you're making the trip over.
What about your buddy Chris?
Oh, he's got kids. He's not going. Also, not a fan of the show. The production.
Okay,
that's what he texted me earlier. That's what he texted me earlier.
Did I?
Yeah, no, it was right before we started recording today. He said I tried to listen.
Production's terrible. ...
For me closing the gap. Their production's terrible. Tell it to be better. Jesse Douglas might be making the. I know he lives.
Yep.
That direction, right? So I don't know if Jesse's making the trip, but yes, keep that on your schedule. We'll post all of these as well.
Yeah,
and we're going to start taking volunteers to get the Fathead too.
June 3rd, we're going to be in my home state, New Jersey.
But
I will not be there. I'm not going to be there because that is 10 days before the.
That's right.
due date, so I'm not going to that show.
Should we now commission a Steve Fathead for that one-time appearance?
They did that one year when I was not there in New Jersey.
Oh, really? When was that?
No, this was years ago.
Because it wouldn't surprise you if they just took our bit.
The promotions department, because I made it pretty clear that I was feeling a bit slighted for not being invited to that station, especially since I'd worked there.
That's when you were running. You had to run the board. So this was before I was operational as a somewhat competent idiot.
Yeah,
doing that, which was probably 2012 or 13,
something like that.
So that must have been anywhere between 2010 and 2012.
So I sent. I was in communication with the promotions director that I used to work with in New Jersey. And she was like, "Hey, it sucked you're not coming back for this." I was like, "Yeah, I know. Like, what? Like, this really sucks." And she said, "Oh, I'll like print out your picture or something." And I was like, "Why don't you print out my face?" And they printed out like 300 of my faces and stuck them on like a little popsicle stick. So when they started the show, everybody waved these things. And I was like, yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, if you want to do that again in New Jersey, I'd appreciate that. I will also not be at the show. We're doing a Green Bay show.
Oh man,
you know what I just realized?
We have one there too.
That New Jersey live show has not been announced yet.
No, we can scrub that.
Well, we have the date set aside for that. I'm assuming it's going to happen. So
behind the curtain here.
Let this be the fanfare announcement.
I can't believe we got one. We got an official announcement here.
Yeah.
This is a big year for us then, because we got the official you're going to be a dad for the second time announcement.
You did.
And now the official, I mean, do we got some fanfare or something? Press one of them buttons over there.
Hold on, let's see.
Coming up on June
3rd,
a live show in New Jersey.
Time to see how wrong everyone else is.
It's the only button we have.
We can't do anything right.
Wait, hold on. I got another bank of buttons.
Hang on. You want me to do a little? You want me to build up again a little bit? Ladies and gentlemen, the big announcement here live on the Steve and Kyle podcast, coming up on June 3rd, the Garden State. You're on deck. Free beer and hot wings live show.
Wait, I got one more button.
Okay,
so
we've got three. Okay. I'm gonna. I felt like I was too wordy there. I get in my own head and I talk too much.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm gonna slim it down here.
That's all right. Major announcement.
Rewind. Coming up June 3rd, we're looking at you, New Jersey. Morning side gig live show coming your way again, June 3rd. That's the one. Okay, so that's into June, but you won't be there. So
I will not be
while
there.
While it would be very neat to see if we have any New Jersey listener who would be willing to get a fathead of Steve and carry mine in to the morning show.
Yeah. Not too much to ask, right?
No. Good God, no. Again, leave your significant other at home. Bring two fatheads to hold up a couple of times during the radio show to not be referenced or acknowledged. And then that would be fantastic.
Just 2 weeks after that, June 17th, morning show and night show. Green Bay, Appleton, Oshkosh, Wisconsin
and
area.
You're not there at that one either.
I will not be. That's the first time that there will be a night show that I will not be at.
Hey.
Which is going to be...
that's going to fall apart.
Well, I don't really have any control over it. So I'm just basically going to hand somebody a hard drive and say, here you go.
Yeah, good luck.
Figure it out.
Hope it goes well.
Yeah.
And
so
don't call me.
Yeah, because I will most likely be... sitting at home with my, I don't know, maybe days old son and enjoying life.
So that gets us through June. Again, you can check our social media. Send us a DM on Twitter, a message on Facebook, or a message on Instagram if you're going to be at one of those events and you would be willing to carry the, at minimum, Kyle Fathead into the live event and a few items. One, not be disruptive. Two, when they tell you, hey, cheer, we're coming back from commercial, whatever, you would be willing to hold the Kyle Fathead up for any type of photographs, whatever. If you're willing to do that, please message us on any of the social media avenues so we can have, again, our friend, Dr. Jonathan Baker, mail that to us or mail that to you directly, and we'll get the Kyle tour, the Fathead tour, back on track after a multiple-year hiatus.
Yeah, Kyle, the Kyle Fathead has just been hanging out these last couple of years.
Yeah, again, sitting next to Dr. Jonathan Baker's marital bed, staring, dead eyes.
Marital bed sounds weird. Right?
Isn't that the way they refer to it in probably like old Scottish times? Let's commiserate on our marital bed.
Let's lay by the marital bed.
Yes, let us layeth near the marital bed. But I think saying marital bed connotates having sex, right? You don't say, like, if I said, hey, it's sitting next to Dr. Jonathan Baker's bed.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, whatever. But if I'm like, it's sitting next to Dr. Jonathan Baker's marital bed, you're like, oh, yeah, Kyle's been watching.
So then do you say, hey, honey, I'm going to bed, and she knows that you're just going to bed.
Yeah.
But if you say, honey, I'm going to marital bed.
That's right. I think that's how...
And maybe a wink.
Yeah, I think that's how you should... how people need to initiate having sex with their significant others now.
Okay, so is marital bed code for...
Yeah. It's already on the poll. Does marital bed connotate sex? Because I think that does.
Okay. I mean, of course.
Hey, Steve, it's been a week. I know you mentioned we talked way too long last week. Trust me, I know I listened to a lot of the podcasts while putting together this intro. Anything further on the Jeep? Were you still you were doing Friday mandates with another Jeepite or a Jeepian?
Jeepian.
We'll get to those poll results here later this episode because we did put that on the poll. Right. How we're going to officially refer to you weirdos. Mm-hmm. Jeep heads, Jeepites, or Jeepians.
At least two of them sound like a slur.
Yeah, we probably should have watched it on that. We're really towing the line here on what's acceptable for society now. Any further update is that, I mean, are big moves done for a while? Can we kind of put the Comanche to bed for a little bit until you have a big announcement?
Yeah, I think that my buddy was away for a couple weeks for some family issues, so I think either this week or next week we are going to commence the Friday night get stuff done
the
parties.
Mandates.
Yeah, on the old Comanche.
Okay,
so we're going to get some stuff done.
So we're back on track in a few weeks. Hopefully, end of this summer. Or later this summer.
Yeah, I will drive it this summer. There will be miles put on it this summer. I mean, it may just be a couple as I putz around the block.
That's right.
But man, I'm going to do it in style.
Man, and your neighbors are going to be so happy
as the plumes of smoke.
Hear that before they see it.
See, I have the. When I started working on it last summer, I took the exhaust off of the bottom of it. So the muffler and the tailpipe and everything. And it's just been sitting on the side of the garage for the last year. So I am 100% convinced. I know at one point it was sitting in the backyard behind the garage. And there was a week where our dog Toby was just infatuated with it. He'd go up and he stuck his nose right up against the tailpipe.
Something new, different smells.
And he was kind of in that stance, that kind of hunting stance.
Oh.
So then he'd run to the other end of the tailpipe, put his nose there. So I'm confident that something has crawled in there.
It's got to be a mouse.
And built a nest of some kind. And I'm kind of terrified to start it up for the first time because I think it's going to just blow dead mice out the back.
you're gonna have a mouse rocket when you first turn on that Comanche. You're going to warn Annette, hey, don't stand behind me.
Yeah.
You might get mice guts all over your pants because I'm about to shoot a family out.
And there's nothing I can do. You can't just flip it up on its end and shake it because a muffler has all kinds of
curves and twists,
baffles and everything, which silence muffles the sound. So shaking it isn't going to get. I mean, some stuff may fall out.
Yeah.
I think I might just have to replace it just to be
because
safe.
You don't want to shoot dead mice families out the back end.
Yeah, part of it. Yeah, part of it. That's definitely it.
I think you're fine once you really roast them, right? By just letting the truck run for a few minutes. Just go inside. No, nothing more horrifying than baby mice death screams. You really don't.
As flames shoot out of the tailpipe.
That's right. People now think you're at the drag strip as it's really just the innards of baby mice.
Hey, is Truckosaurus here? blowing flames out of the tailpipe. So yeah, but other than that, nothing new to report on the Comanche. I'm sure that my neighbors will be thrilled once the tailpipe is finally not sitting on the side of the garage. But the weather is we're getting close. We're almost at the point where the weather's gonna get a little bit nicer. I'll be able to start doing some more work. Pretty excited.
Yeah, and we've got projects. So this is your 1 month warning for the annual Christmas light discussion. That'll be coming up the first episode in May here on the Steve and Kyle podcast. It's an anniversary people observe all around the world. Can't thank people enough for honoring the holiday with us in May.
Yep.
As we have somehow, again, another discussion to have about Steve's Christmas lights.
Yeah, I know. I'm still working on still spitballing things in my mind.
That's right. And again, the month of May. We have a few items we have to get to today in terms of cleaning up shop. We've got to recap last week's polls. We do have to get an update on poll badness. We've got your 1 minute movie review. Mm-hmm. But anything else that you think we need to get to today that's pertinent?
I don't think so.
Did you have any nearly week-old hot takes that you wanted to fire off about Chris Rock and Will Smith? As we are known to be the timely podcast.
Was it staged? Was it real?
That's right.
Should he get kicked out of the academy?
That's right. Tune in next week for when we get to that and discuss it in depth. Because
best thing
nothing
to do.
like waiting 2 to 3 weeks to really break down the news of the day.
All right, you want to recap these polls then?
Yeah, let's get to them. I can pull them up quick.
Time to see how wrong everyone else is. It's poll recap time. Find the polls at Steve and Kyle on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Nope, just Twitter. But now that I knew that button had that on it, I
should we label it?
Just nah. No, come on. It's just silly.
All right, Steve. Going back to last week, what is a group of Jeep fanatics called? Your options were Jeep heads, Jeepites, and Jeepians. As we talked, this is a big one because this is your group going forward.
Yes, this is a big one,
and I would expect, end of the week, maybe Annette could have a couple of shirts for you and whatever other idiots want these on shirts.
You want a shirt? I still got that shirt sitting out there.
You know what? I'm waiting to decide which shirt I need to get rid of in my drawer so that'll fit.
We made it a couple of years ago for you. Just been waiting.
That's what I like, though. It's a 2-year-old shirt. Because
aged.
That means it's fermented. It's gonna slink on your body. I'm gonna post that on the poll right now. Is there anything better than 2-year-old shirt? Because that's what they say, right? You don't want the stiffness of a brand new shirt,
right?
You really want that aged feel to it. But no, I do appreciate it. Maybe today I'll take that home today, and then I'll wear it next week. Jeep Week, right?
Yep.
Is Jeep Week? Is there like an international Jeep Week that you honor and celebrate every day for that week?
Of all the dumb questions you've asked on this podcast, 311 episodes, 312 if you count the lost episode. That may be the absolute dumbest question you've ever asked.
I am seeing, and granted this isn't Jeep Week, I am stunned, and apologies to the polls. We'll get back to it, I promise. Less than a month away. You know what I'm talking about.
Of course I know what you're talking about.
Is this something you want to go to? Or are you not going?
I've done this before. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, I'm not sure if...
This is one down in Florida. Jeep Beach 2022?
Oh, Jeep Beach is big.
Is that okay?
Jeep Beach is very big.
People just drive their Jeeps on a beach? Or?
They do. Yeah, Daytona Beach.
Christ, I can't imagine anything worse.
But also Saturday, May 21st, 2022.
Jeep Day.
Jesus Christ.
Gathering of the dickheads. Sorry, Jeepheads. Sorry, Jeepians.
It's Go Topless Day. It's where you drive your Jeep.
Oh, so it's not a gathering. That's just where all you weirdos, separately take the tops off your Jeeps and drive?
Yeah, essentially.
And you have a hard top, so you can't even do that?
Oh, I can take the top off.
Oh, that sounds fun. What's Pantless Day, where you take the doors off? You got the Bill of Rights roof.
That's freedom panels.
And you've got the declaration doors where you rip all of them off and you're running around in a shell of a vehicle. You've essentially paid so much money for a go-kart. What day is that?
You're just being disrespectful.
Happy Topless Day coming up in a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
With 52.4, so not just a pour-out, an actual majority.
Yeah.
So this is the official decision. The least exciting of the answers. Your official group, Steve, you are the Jeep Heads.
Jeep Heads. All right.
I was really hoping for Jeepites.
Yeah. Well.
Second place. Maybe next year. Does Steve's next Jeep just have a wooden bench and ropes for seat belts?
Ooh, that'd be nice.
84% of the audience said yes.
Of course.
Is 3 days too long to vacuum a car? 80% of the audience said yes. 20% of you either don't get the podcast or are as weird about cars as you are.
Look, sometimes you gotta get it clean.
Is there any worse part of the car to clean than inside the windows? 67% of the audience said no. Can you stay married if the first day you've driven a clean car is nipping at the heels of the day you got married?
Sometimes I'm happy my wife doesn't listen anymore.
63% of the audience said no.
Okay.
If Steve sells one of his Jeeps, can he be labeled a Jeepsman in absentia? 62%.
That's right, because I wouldn't own one anymore.
Yes, yeah. And
but I mean, I still own the
Comanche. You would
Comanche.
own two. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You own two, but I think we agree you need two at least to be a Jeepsman.
Well,
if you just own one, you're not a Jeepsman.
At least one running and driving one. So right now, yeah, I own two. Technically, I don't even own the Comanche yet. I haven't even gone to the Secretary of State to get the title transferred over yet. And when I do, they're going to say, "You bought this 2 years ago." I say, "Uh-huh."
Yeah, you got it. You're in luck, though. If you decide to make that move, 62% of the audience agree you can have that worthless title of Jeepsman in absentia.
Okay.
Are MJ and JK sex cult terms? 55% of the audience said yes. Should Steve muddy the waters and just throw shag carpet in there? 77% of the audience said yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shag it up. I think it's what shag fans say.
Shag fans.
Yeah, shag fan groups. Shag carpet Facebook fan page.
Mm-hmm.
Does it surprise you that Steve enjoys upholstering? 91% of the audience said no. Can Kyle still learn how to drive a manual? 55% of the audience said no.
Yeah, definitely not.
You were the one who said I could. You said as soon as that thing's drivable, you're coming to my house, and we're going to embarrass the neighborhood.
I mean, I don't think you're going to be good at it, but I think you could make it out of first gear.
Is that good?
I mean, there's 5 gears. So.
Oh, okay. So you don't think I stand a chance?
Once you're into first, though,
yeah,
all the other ones come naturally.
Is a dream dance still a dance? No idea what that was in reference to.
Oh, that was come on. That was in reference to Captain America.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
we had that dance. We
with wait a minute, Agent Carter.
Hey,
come on now.
Come on, how about you? 76% of the audience, bunch of idiots, said yes. It's not.
No,
it's not. If you have dream sex, you haven't had sex.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but dancing and sexing are different.
If you've driven a car, you haven't actually driven the car.
Well,
you've dreamed skydove. I'm willing to give that one up. Skydove, skydiving, skydived.
Skydived.
I'll put both all
Skies
three.
dove.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to need all these options. We have skydoving, skydove, and
sky dividend.
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
And skydived.
Whew. Skydived, boy. A lot of options. That'll be on the poll. For you to not have any idea what that's about. Sorry, typing that. I believe that is it for the polls. Yeah. Again, just in case you're wondering, 76% of the audience. No, you have not actually danced with the love of your life. If you danced with her in a dream.
Okay. Do you want to get to the big thing, the hot burning item?
Yeah, I do.
This is In case you've been living under a rock, since the beginning of the year, I've been watching a Marvel movie a week, giving my recap, my review of the movie as honestly as I can.
Now, this one's going to be, I have a feeling this one's going to be a little bit different because you watch it on an airplane. Yeah. Typically, you're kind of jotting down a few notes while you're watching. I don't know if you did that on the airplane.
I definitely did. It was a different, because normally I sit there with my laptop on my lap and I'm watching and I can kind of type as I'm watching. But this was a lot of pause, type a note on my phone, unpause. So it was definitely a different atmosphere than I was used to. But I had a couple of hours to kill, so
perfect time. But probably you were more attentive to this one than a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, because it's about a 2 hour, I think just over 2 hours. So it probably took me about 2.5 to watch it after, boarding and getting off the plane and everything, switching flights.
That's right.
And watching the movie. So this is a review,
2015's Ant-Man, Steve, wrapping up Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Steve, your review of 2015's Ant-Man.
All right, boy, this is a good one here. Someone tried to steal Hank's formula, and he is pissed. Punched another dude in the face. Scott, played by Paul Rudd. He's getting out of prison, and his old cellmate is trying to drag him back into a life of crime. Hank's old company cracked the code, and now they can make, little tiny soldier yellow jacket suits now. Seems pretty scary. Scott relents and helps with the robbery, but turns out the robbery's a bust. Nothing is in the safe except for an old suit. Turns out he's robbing Hank's house, and Hank is watching the whole thing on camera. The bad bald guy, Darren Cross, I believe. He's trying to shrink living things, but he keeps turning them into mush. Scott puts on the suit and shrinks, then chaos ensues. He gets arrested, and Hank shows up to help. Looks like Hank is grooming him to battle the bad bald guy and steal the tech back. Hank's daughter, Hope. Wait, is her name Hope Pym?
Got it.
Terrible name. Hope Pym. Oh, man. Thought for sure I had it this week.
You're really close. That was 30 seconds. Another 30.
So Hope doesn't approve of using Scott and wants to do it herself. Scott seems hesitant, but Hank plays the whole, hey, save the world for your daughter card, and it works. Scott is now Ant-Man. Training montage time. Hell yeah. Cross has finally figured out how to shrink living things without turning them into mush. Hope has obvious daddy issues. We find out that Hank's wife died disabling a missile. She was Wasp. Then she went subatomic and haven't seen her since. Yeah. Ant-Man shows up at the formerly Stark, now Avengers warehouse to get the techie stuff that they need to take down Cross's security. But Falcon is there to greet him. But Ant-Man prevails. Cross is onto them. Is the jig up? I don't know. Ant-Man and Anthony and the rest of the gang get into the building through the pipes. The ants fry the servers. Big news. Turns out Cross is going to sell the Yellow Jacket tech to Hydra.
Boy, you got a long way to go.
It's okay. I think
that was.
What were we at? 45 seconds?
Yeah, 45 seconds left.
Okay. Ant-Man is trapped in the Yellow Jacket security bubble thing, but he gets out and all hell breaks loose. Cross puts on the Yellow Jacket suit, and him and Ant-Man are going at it in the chopper. 90 minutes in, still no space. Hell yeah. Yellow Jacket goes after Ant-Man's daughter. Low blow. Ant-Man goes subatomic, blows up Yellow Jacket from the inside. Ant-Man is gone forever. Psych! He messes with the regulator and makes it back from the subatomic world. Hank catches Scott and Hope making out. Awkward! Now the Avengers are looking for Ant-Man, and that was Ant-Man.
Boy, you really... Of your reviews, I would argue this is the one that you probably got bogged down the most in the middle. A lot of details, though, in this one.
A lot of details.
So, my takeaway
I really worked hard.
You did.
At names. And I feel like I got most of them.
Hope, Hank, Scott, Anthony. I mean, you're nailing this thing.
Yeah.
Darren.
But come on. Hope Pym.
I mean, listen.
Because I was saying it. I was like, is that like a... is there going to be am I going to say it together and think if her last name was Full, you know, so it was like Hopeful. Oh, Hopeful. Oh, right. I get, but no, Hope Pym is not a word, right?
No.
Okay. Just making sure. You want to put that on the poll?
Is Hope Pym a word? Like all one?
Feel free. Feel free. There was a little in the post credits too. So
yes.
Hope is going to be the new Wasp.
Yes.
Which kind of figured. I figured that there was one of two ways that this was going to go. Mm-hmm. One, Hope becomes the new Wasp.
Yeah.
Two is that after Ant-Man went subatomic and he's like floating through subatomic world, I thought there was a chance maybe he finds the original
Janet.
Wasp, and since he was able to come back,
bring her back.
Maybe he would bring her back, or after the fact, now that he knows how to come back, that they would go back in and bring her back.
Yeah.
And then it would kind of be like almost like similar to how when Captain America was frozen in time for 70 years, he comes out, he hasn't aged. Maybe that's the same with Wasp. Like she has been gone for however many years and she comes back and she's the same age. But no. So Hope is the new Wasp.
Not in this movie anyway. I mean, we are only 12 films in.
Okay.
To a nearly 30 film catalog.
Yeah.
You have Ant-Man, the sequel, coming up in a handful of movies. I don't know exactly when. It is not in the
I think I have
next
like
few.
Or 3 more, maybe 4 more.
Yeah, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 8 movies away.
Oh my God.
So before you get to the Ant-Man sequel, you're going to wrap up the Avengers Infinity Saga. Well, not wrap up, but you're going to get through Avengers Infinity War. Those people at the start, Hank Pym worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know if you recognize that. I wanted to make sure you understood.
Okay, that makes total sense.
In the 80s, it said 1989, he worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah. He quit, punched the guy because they were trying to replicate his science.
Because he meets with Tony Stark's dad.
That's right.
At the beginning, yeah.
Howard Stark in 1989, and he kind of takes his ball and goes home.
Yep.
What they don't show are those years of Hank as Ant-Man. So technically Hank Pym is Ant-Man 1.0 until he allows Scott to steal that costume. As you find out, he allows him to steal it.
Got it. Yeah, because they show all the sequence of Ant-Man like disabling bombs and blowing people up. And,
not to hijack the segment. I rewatched this as well this week for the first time in 7 years. It didn't feel like a Marvel movie, and I really did not like them wedging Sam Wilson Falcon into it to remind everybody it was a Marvel movie.
That did seem to kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah. And I think they just wanted to let it, hey, this is all connected. They're here. They're together. You see him again. It just felt a little bit
and then
weird
because there's then that other post-credit scene all the way at the end with Captain America and who does he talk to in there? God, I forget. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the very end, it was Cap. They had Bucky.
Bucky, right, yeah.
With his metal arm clamped down so he couldn't, attack them. And they said that it didn't make sense to you because you haven't seen this. They mentioned the Accords.
Yeah.
And they couldn't call Stark because of the Accords. You'll find out all about that next week.
Okay.
Well, this week when you watch it,
it was unclear.
Captain America Civil War, which I adore as a movie. You want me to bring over the comics? Civil War, the comic books? It's 7 issues. Pretty, like 27 pages a piece, but they're comic books, you can read them quick. You would you like to read the comics then the movie? You want to watch the movie then the comics?
Yeah, I got a real busy week coming up.
What about Civil War 2? That was a follow-up series about 6-7 years later.
So you think I should watch Civil War 2 before Civil War?
No. Civil War 2 is not a movie. You're going to keep up, please. Civil War, the comic books. Civil War, the movie. Civil War 2, the comic books, with all different characters and a different storyline. Do you want me to bring over the comics today yet, then?
Were you... I'm sorry. I stopped listening.
Steve, your official review of 2015's Peyton Reed directed, Paul Rudd starring Ant-Man. Hang on, I got to put that down. I've got to put
big sigh.
Well, last one, you earlier you had Heavy Nose Breath that was on the Avengers. So this one has to be I now have to start with Big Sigh.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
I loved everything about it.
Wow. Okay.
I loved the characters. I thought the characters were amazing. I especially loved his old cellmate, Luis.
Marvel does something with comedic sidekicks.
Yeah.
That
fantastic.
Is picture perfect.
I loved it. Not one lick of space in the entire 2-hour movie. I absolutely loved it. It was funny. Paul Rudd is amazing. Hope is awesome.
It's weird. Oh man, it's so just weird watching.
Yeah, just a great movie. I finished that movie and I was like, yes, I have found it. I have found the perfect combination.
Super fun, right?
Very fun.
Very fun. And like I said, it didn't really feel like outside of, granted, what we're watching is using science and technology with some Marvel names. For a while, it didn't feel like a Marvel movie. Your choice of movies is upsetting people.
So this one had to be well-liked, though, right?
Well-liked, I wouldn't call it beloved. Right?
Really?
It's liked a lot. But I think a lot of the complaints are that this was included after an Avengers movie. It was still in phase 2. Should this have been part of a different phase?
Okay.
They introduced it. Everybody kind of wants a follow-up to how the last Avengers saga ended, right? Hey, they dropped the city. A lot of people died. They stopped robots. I think people would have preferred they went to Captain America to see the direct follow-up to the island of Sokovia being dropped on the world. But instead, they give you kind of that comedic relief with Ant-Man.
I loved it.
The timing was an issue.
It was fantastic. I'm very happy to have watched that. Finished watching it, and I was like, I might watch that again.
So again, you really hated Guardians of the Galaxy.
Again, did not hate Guardians of the Galaxy.
And have really, really loved Avengers Age of Ultron, which is not a very good, in hindsight, people don't love that.
Okay.
And Ant-Man.
Now, do you think that my opinion of Avengers Age of Ultron will change after... Okay, so it's not something where I'm going to look back on and be like, oh, that wasn't great. Right. This is great.
And I say this kind of facetiously just because I'm a comic book guy, so I watch these and I'm a little more... not hard-nosed, but a little more knowing the characters, knowing the stories, and why did they do that with so-and-so, and boy, they're really wedging in whatever to make it so they can include them in the next one. Whereas you're not that, and you don't have to be, and you shouldn't be. Not everybody is that way. So for you, you're sitting back and enjoying the ride and trying to understand how they all...
These are all brand new. Yeah. All these characters are brand new to me.
Yeah, and so you're understanding how they make this big ball of Marvel eventually when they come together once every 5 or 6 movies.
Yeah. I don't understand how people wouldn't have liked that movie.
The Town Drunk and I have had a real serious discourse this week about your thoughts on upcoming movies because...
My thoughts on upcoming movies?
Yeah, because Phase 3 of the Marvel Universe is, for my money, unparalleled.
Have I really... But I haven't given my...
No, but that's... So him and I were talking about what you're going to think about it.
Okay.
Because this is... The upcoming 6 to 8 movies are massive. Mm-hmm. Massive. And renowned for being incredible.
Yeah.
People love all of these movies in Phase 3. There's not a dog in the bunch. I'm looking at the list right now.
So I have Captain America Civil War next.
This week, you're going to be watching Captain America Civil War. And this is where Rusty and I were really discussing what you're going to think with Doctor Strange. Because it's Earthbound, but it's magic. He's the Sorcerer Supreme.
I think I'm okay with magic.
Okay. That gives me hope because...
I'm all right with magic.
Doctor Strange is severely underrated in the pantheon.
Is it space magic?
No. But, he can kind of work through a space-time continuum, so there's a lot of like world-bending stuff.
Okay.
Where you'll
kind
see,
of like Matrix-like stuff.
I'm kind of reminded of Inception. To where you see
Inception.
You kind of see worlds, you can build worlds and cities are folding on top of each other. And you're,
all right, I'm in.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
in.
That's in 2 weeks. And then in 3 weeks, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Okay.
And then after that, the inaugural solo adventure. We have Spider-Man Homecoming coming up in 4 weeks, followed up by Thor Ragnarok, which is regarded as the best Thor entry in the Marvel Universe.
So probably a good amount of space and a good amount of Loki.
Yeah.
Okay.
As always.
But I like Thor.
Yes.
Thor, I'll
be curious. Thor
like
Ragnarok
his character.
Is an entirely different movie and feel than the first 2 Thor entries that you watched.
Okay.
Entirely different.
I thought that the first 2 Thors were very different
from each other.
Between 1 and 2.
And different directors for both of those. Different director for the third entry.
Yeah.
beloved. And Thor Ragnarok might be one of the most underrated. It's very appreciated, but most underrated entries in the Marvel Universe, followed by Black Panther, which you and I saw in theaters.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the Avengers Infinity War, followed up by Ant-Man and the Wasp.
You know, I know that my reviews haven't been very popular, but I'm happy that I'm doing them. I'm happy that I am learning this this pop culture stuff that I never knew about before. I don't know. I'm not going to make excuses. I like what I like. I don't need to like what you like, and you don't need to like what I like.
It's interesting to watch an outsider really go through this for the first time. It's not common because most people have seen all these. But I say that, kind of not tongue-in-cheek, but I've seen the Star Wars. I don't see a thing about them that I care about.
Right. Man, I think that the real epiphany for me has been because I've never even been remotely interested in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I think that watching some like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff and realizing like, oh, it's the space thing that I just like, different worlds, different realms. That stuff just doesn't
it's harder to
me.
Resonate.
It's I like being able to. I mean, yeah, of course, Ant-Man, he's like shrinking down and being able to fit into pipes.
But it's Earth-based science.
I understand that it's not like that's not possible, but it's easily explained in the plot. Like, I'm the mad scientist who figured out how to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, I can take that, even though it's a complete BS plot. I can take that and be like, all right, that makes sense. I can suspend disbelief for that. But it gets to a certain point where my brain is just like, I'm just not into this.
Yeah. I mean, and not to break down comic culture too much here, but comic books weren't what they were in the 40s and 50s simply because they didn't understand the idea of making it somewhat relatable until they introduced Spider-Man, a down-on-his-luck teenager who was kind of being bullied in school and happens upon these superpowers and realizes that he can do so much more. Before that, it was Superman, who now is... I'm not going to say unlikable. Superman's the least relatable of any comic book hero or any comic book story ever. He's a space alien who's invincible to everything but a green rock.
Oh, when you put it like that.
And now they're introducing people. Obviously, you can't relate to billionaire Tony Stark, but hey, guy tried to do better in Spider-Man. He's had these issues, and he's still a kid, and he's a family man. All of these items that now make comic book heroes more relatable. It's fair that you struggle with a Norse god taking the Bifrost to get his hammer back from Earth. That's fair.
That's the Rainbow Road for those.
That's right. But no, there is something to be said about the Star Wars culture about that as well, where that's never hit me.
Did this review of mine for Ant-Man, did it give you a little bit of hope? Like, are you happy that I enjoyed it?
I was hopeful last week when you started putting some dots together, remembering and saying, hey, I recognize so-and-so, or isn't that from here? And putting the names there that you now recognize from previous movies, previous teases.
Yeah.
Because for my money, this is all building up to what is my favorite and most consequential Marvel Universe entry, Avengers Infinity War.
And that
is 7 weeks away. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 7 weeks away. That all builds up to... Again, and you probably know more about the Avengers Infinity War than you think, just because of how much it permeated the world, and the memes and everything going on around it. But Rusty and I both agree that if you don't like Captain America: Civil War, this podcast is over.
Well, I think that there's a good chance I will like it because
so too.
I've enjoyed the Captain Americas.
Yeah, and it's Earthbound.
Yeah.
And it's a collection of the heroes, and it's a really big story. Lots to like about this upcoming week on Captain America Civil War. Not that I don't want to influence your thoughts on it.
I'm going into that with high hopes. There was a slight chance if I had Wi-Fi at the airport a little bit longer, I was going to download it and listen to it on the flight back yesterday.
That's
right. I almost finally double dipped, but I kind of don't want to because. Like this, I just watched the other day, so it's still pretty fresh in my mind. I don't want to get ahead and then...
have like 2 weeks off where you're like, wait a minute,
and not really remember what my notes mean.
Imagine waiting a year and a half in between movies. Boy,
I think we can do this.
Yeah, we blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
But we can't go a week. We have to recap.
Yeah.
Poll Madness 2022.
Yes. Sounds a little different.
It's better. It is better.
If you want to be the best, you got to be a fire. If you want to be the best, you got to show desire. If you want to be the best, you got to be a fire.
That's right. Welcoming us back in. We are getting down from the excessive
Hold on.
to the...
Gotta be a fighter because the world is competitive. Play work, eat. Every day is repetitive. Never really sleep. Stay away from the sedatives. Think positive
Okay.
just to take away the negative.
Boy, really good rapping. Poll Madness 2022, Steve. We are on track. We are motoring right along.
Yeah.
We are still going to finish about 1 or 2 weeks after the actual basketball tournament, but
That's
you
all
know,
right.
we only do one episode a week. That's how it goes. We are going from the excessive 8 down to the foolish 4 this
Yeah.
week. You can follow along with all of the polls every week at Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I posted an updated poll picture of the bracket as well, and the new polls come out on Tuesdays periodically throughout the day. So please vote and spread those around. Starting off in the patently absurd division, the excessive 8, where Biblical Time Gift Sticks with faces carved in them in pairs was taking on the number 2 seed. Would Second Chance Jeeps be more interesting if it were helping Jeeps through alcohol and narcotic addiction? And Steve, we have run into, maybe it was a seating problem down in the discussion den on the Planning Pagoda. The number 2 seed, Would Second Chance Jeeps be more interesting, has been steamrolling the competition.
Yeah, just plowing through.
No exception this week with an upset. The number 1 seed, I really thought this was our chance
out
for
a 1
back-to-back religious champions, where Biblical Time Gift Sticks with faces carved in them in pairs goes down in the
Back-to-back religious champions.
it goes down in the excessive 8.
Okay.
Moving up by, and not a nail biter, 71.9% of the
Wow.
audience advancing. Would Second Chance Jeeps be more interesting if it were helping Jeeps through alcohol and narcotic addiction? That moves on to the foolish 4. Taking on the winner of the What the division. The number 1 seed is in Jimmy the Bangladeshi bullet shooter, only at the Olympics to plow people like Veronica the New Zealand pole vaulter. And I got to tell you, when the second that thing made the bracket as a number 1 seed, I thought it was unstoppable.
It sure seemed like it.
That, for my money, top to bottom was our best poll this year. But this is a one-and-done tournament, Steve.
Seriously?
And you cannot account
Wow.
for the variance of one matchup. And this week, the number 3 seed is Annette's Etsy shop. Just her slamming airplane-sized booze bottles to get away from Steve. Is going to move on to the foolish 4 with 63.9% of the vote.
So 2 upsets already.
Yeah, a number 2 seed versus a number 3 seed on the left side of the bracket there, moving on to the foolish 4. We're going to flip over to the right side, the top right, the asinine division. The excessive 8, the number 1 seed. Are you more of a fart guy or a dick guy? Really permeated culture,
If
our
this
culture
one,
here.
If this one loses.
We need that on merch, right? Fart guy or dick guy.
Maybe
just like Animal House. It's Animal House where they just have the shirt that says college.
College, yeah.
In that font.
Maybe, but maybe I'm thinking of it like almost like a checklist. And it says, are you a, and then there's fart guy and dick guy. And depending on which one you pick, it'll have the check mark.
What's great is we can do that because we're not
Yeah.
that dumb.
Yeah.
So we can have that merch put up. I think we need to, let's work on that this week. Let's get that up on the merch shop. Fart guy or dick guy, the number 1 seed, taking on the number 2 seed. Would you tune into the Fruit Boot and Shoot at the Olympics?
That whole conversation. Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah. And while Jimmy the Bangladeshi bullet shooter went down, the number 2 seed, would you tune into the Fruit Boot and Shoot at the Olympics, is going to advance.
Jeez.
Again, another blowout. A lot of blowouts this week.
We have no number 1 seeds remaining
So far,
at
this
point?
is the third matchup. 73.5% of the audience voted for the Fruit Boot and Shoot. Moving on to the foolish 4.
All right.
Going down, last division, the Are They Serious division. The excessive 8 vote. The Cinderella Story was the number 5 seed. Taking on the number 2 seed. Yeah, you're right. No number 1 seeds because number 1 got bounced last week by Cinderella in a nail biter. The number 5 seed, did Steve not eating June Thanksgiving dinner ruin June Thanksgiving dinner for everyone else? Took on what I thought was an understated juggernaut and Are the middle anchors worthless in a Paul Bearer situation? Steve.
Yeah.
The slipper still fits.
Oh.
The number 5 seed. Did
Look
Steve
at
not
that.
eating June Thanksgiving dinner ruin June Thanksgiving dinner for everyone else? Advances with 56.3% of the vote into the Foolish Four.
How about that?
To take on the number 2 seed. So to recap, the Foolish Four polls will be up this should be up
Tuesday.
right now,
Yeah,
coming up throughout the day.
As you're listening.
The number 2 seed would
It's
second
only going
chance
to be two polls, right?
2 polls.
Yeah.
The number 2 seed would second chance Jeeps be more interesting if it were helping Jeeps through alcohol and narcotic addiction. Taking on the number 3 seed is Annette's Etsy shop, just her slamming airplane-sized booze bottles to get away from Steve. And on the other side, the Foolish Four, would you tune into the fruit, boot, and shoot at the Olympics? Taking on the number 5 seed, did Steve not eating June Thanksgiving dinner ruin June Thanksgiving dinner for everyone else? One of those will be your 2022 Poll Badness champion. Polls again, at Stephen Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can vote on all platforms. Please do vote as we narrow these down. Only one more week after this week.
It's crazy.
As we determine the second champion of Poll Badness.
Yeah, it's crazy. Last year, I feel like this took us until about October.
I think it did. I think on our Halloween episode, we were all dressed up. I think we were declaring the champion.
Yeah. All right. Like Kyle said, at Stephen Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can vote on all of them. Next week, I am looking forward to my movie review.
That's right.
Very much looking forward to my movie review of Captain America Civil War. I know that there's been some scuttle about my reviews, especially between you and Rusty the Town Drunk. I purposely do not respond to the insults that you send me.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do.
Trying to have a conversation.
Well, when the conversation starts with, hey, ogre, it's kind of not really a conversation as much as it is an attack.
Gotta tell you, really love these Marvel movies. Not taking it so nice when you didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy. It was a real switch flip for me.
Again, did not hate it.
Hated it.
It just
couldn't
what was
stand
my
it.
review of it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I still have it open. Thank you. The best part about this movie was the music.
It had a great soundtrack.
Seriously, people liked this.
Yeah, I guess in that, when you read it back, you know, maybe I'll go back and review it again.
Sure, that's the ticket. That'll change it.
All right, at Stephen Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We will talk to you next week. I don't think we have anything else to talk about.
Nope, that's it.
Address is in the show notes if you want to send anything, like something for the sticker wall.
Yes.
Oh, how did we not talk about Hope Solo this week?
Oh, my God. I've never been more vindicated in my life.
I mean, how many victory laps did you do the other day?
I'm still doing it. Still doing it. I think we need to revisit the Hope. Maybe we can revisit my Hope Solo saga next week here on the podcast. But yeah, it turns out, terrible person. Still a terrible person.
Not a great person. All right, we will talk to you next week. More about that then.